Hello, my name is Coach John Berry, founder of B-Ball Coaching Academy. Today, I'm going to talk with you about how do you get involved in basketball coaching. When I think about this topic, I think about four things that I believe a person should have. Number one, you should have a love of the game. Number two, you really should educate yourself on the strategies and tactics needed in order to be great in between the lines. Number three, you should volunteer. Number four, be committed over the long term. Let's go back to the very first thing, love of the game. I don't know how you can acquire this other than it's natural. For me personally, I acquired my love of the game by playing. Maybe you play as well. I also acquired my love of the game by watching. At a very young age, I used to literally watch on television, and I also went to many basketball games. Given that I'm from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, my parents actually took me to many games. I actually saw Dr. J, Moses Malone, Maurice Cheeks, Andrew Toney. I've seen these guys play. And just by going to the game and watching them play, I learned a lot of the ins and outs of strategies at a high level. And I simply just wanted to be around the game long term. So number one, I do believe you need to have a love of the game, identify where that love has come from, and use that to propel you forward to get into this great thing of coaching. Number two, educate yourself on the strategies and tactics needed in order to be a great coach. How do you do it? What I did was I went and bought some books. I flipped through the books, looked at some drills. I bought a few coaching books and looked at some of the tactics and strategies. I picked up some DVDs from basketballcoach.com. And I watch how other coaches run practices. I watch how other coaches implemented some of their sets. And by doing this over a long period of time, I've acquired a baseline of knowledge so that now when I go coach a team, I can pull lots of different things out of the hat to impart on the youth. In fact, it also comes in handy when you're coaching a game, because maybe you didn't show the kids everything in practice because you just hadn't gotten to that yet, or it just wasn't applicable to that particular team. But all of a sudden, we have a late game situation, and you remember something that you picked up in this DVD or this seminar, and you say, all right, ref, give me a timeout. So you call the guys in, and you call a last-minute play, and you show the kids exactly what to do in order to be successful. And they go out there and execute. That's what books, DVDs, going to seminars will do. It will give you a strong baseline of knowledge so that during the actual game itself, if you absolutely need to call upon it, you have something to pull from. Number three, you absolutely should volunteer. Get started now, not tomorrow, now. I have a saying. Fire, aim, ready. I don't believe in going to this aim, ready, fire, because what's going to happen is you're going to suffer from something called analysis paralysis. My position is just get started and figure it out on the way. And if you just say start it and figure it out on the way, the easiest way to do it is to simply just be an assistant coach, where you don't have to really know all the ins and outs. You can simply leverage off whoever the head coach is and learn that way. So as I said before, fire, aim, ready. Get started now. So where do you get started at? Go to a rec league. Go to an intramural league. Volunteer as an assistant coach. You'll be surprised. They probably need a head coach. Great. Get thrown into the fire. Figure it out. Go get a book. Go watch some DVDs. Check out a seminar. But get started now. The faster you get started, the faster you'll get involved with this. Just as a quick reference point, I got started that way. It was back at the Berkeley, California YMCA. downtown Berkeley. That was my first basketball team I've ever coached. From there, I eventually coached a travel team, then an AAU team. Then I was the assistant coach for a JV team. And then eventually, I worked my way all the way up to coaching varsity basketball. And for the last 10 years, I've been the head coach of a 1A team here in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. So get started, man. Get started right away. It is absolutely a wonderful thing. And last but not least, I want you to be committed. Now, if you heard nothing else that I said in this video blog, I want you to hear the fact that I have been committed. I started this thing back in 1993. It is now the end of 2016. You run some quick numbers, we're looking at 23 years. And through that time, I've gotten better and better and better and better and better. And let me tell you something. Don't ever think you've arrived. I'll tell you, let me tell you this short story. Back in 2000, I want to say 2002, 2003, I was involved maybe up to that point, maybe 10 years. I hooked up with this guy named Jim Hill. And the reason why I hooked up with him was because the teams that I was coaching, they went from 6th grade to 7th grade to 8th grade. Now they're in 9th grade. They're in high school. That whole team ended up going to the same high school, and ultimately they played on the JV team. I wanted to stick with that team. So what I did was I found out who the coach was, and I asked the coach, could he graciously allow me to help him out? And he said yes. Well, guess what happened? He was a college coach. He had coached for 20, 30 years. When I went to help him out in 2003, I found out what I didn't know. I thought I was there. But man, after spending 2 years with him, it was like, wow, I had so much to learn. So ever since that point, I make it a point to always study. And what you can do is, as I said before, those books, those seminars, those DVDs, that's going to be your lifeblood of information that you're going to need long term in order to be the coach that you want to be. So be committed over the long term, because the more you learn, the more you will learn that you need to learn. So in summary, if you absolutely want to get involved in basketball coaching, I want you to remember these 4 things. Number 1, I want you to love the game. Number 2, educate yourself on those strategies and tactics that you're going to need in between the lines. Number 3, volunteer. Not now, yesterday you volunteer. Remember, ready, aim, fire. I don't like all of that. I like fire, aim, ready. Go that way. Start now, figure it out as you go. Don't wait. Do it. Do it. You can do it. And then last but not least, I want you to be committed. Be committed over the long haul, right? Don't just start and stop and start and stop. Stick to it. Stick to it. Because the more you stick to it, the more you learn, the more you're going to be able to help the youth. Because at the end of the day, and this is the real reason why I coach, you are using basketball or whatever sport you coach as a vehicle to impart wisdom and knowledge that's going to help the youth, not just between the lines, but in life as well. Until next time, God bless and have a great day.